Hello, I'm Leona Dooley, and this is Ebony, Ivy, and Thyme in the kitchen. And this is where we work hard, we love God and family, and we know without a doubt that everything else is just gravy. Now, today in the kitchen, we are going to cook something wonderful, do a little bit of planning and talking, and we're just going to have an in general love fest with each other, just having a good time and keeping each other lifted up. So if you're interested in what's going to go on in the kitchen today, stay tuned. We're going to start something that I started last summer, and I kind of dropped the ball a little bit, to be honest with you, because I wasn't quite sure everybody was ready for it. And, everybody develops at their own pace, their own time. And I am certainly not the sage on the stage, but I'm just offering the tips that I use to you. And so then you decide what you want to do with it. And, that's it. So today we're going to look at planning and how to plan ahead. And I'm going to show you what I do. I'm going to take you through my plan. And if you decide you want to do something similar, you don't have to be so formal. You don't have to, you can use a piece of paper, an index card. So I can remember when I used to plan, but I did it on the back of an envelope that maybe I got in the mail, didn't use the envelope, kept the envelope, and I'd write everything down. And even to today, I am subject to show up at the grocery store with my list on an envelope because I got in the habit of doing that. Plus, very often, I kept the money for the grocery cost and the money to pay for the groceries in the envelope. So all of that was there together. But we change. I have been grocery shopping for over 45 years. And so needless to say, I haven't done the same thing all 45 years. So you will tweak as time goes by, whatever your plan may be. And I've had to make changes because of COVID. And so I've had to do some things different from what I was used to doing. We have to be flexible because we never know what's coming along and what we might need to do in order to best prepare for our family. So I'm going to take you with me. Let's have a good time. Okay, well, first, I wanted you to take a look at what this week's groceries look like. I did a scan of these pages, and I'm hoping they will certainly show up well. I won't know that until I get them on the computer, but anyway, on one side, I have my what's for dinner. And then on the opposite side, I have my grocery list. Notice it says June grocery list, because what I try to do at the very beginning of the month is to make sure that I have the basics. Then any little things that I find that I may want to add to this, I can certainly do that. But for the most part, everything that I had on this list, I've picked up. Now, the cool thing is, and what I really enjoyed, was the fact that I was able to order 98% of what's on this list. And I was able to do grocery pickup. And so I'll show you a quick picture of that in just a little while, because I think you probably saw when I was sitting in the Kroger parking lot at this point. So I am actually over on the side of what's for dinner. I'm really working off of last month's batch of groceries. So you can see for Monday we had ribs, we had hot dogs. It was Memorial Day. I was celebrating Memorial Day. That Monday we did pickup and we had breakfast for dinner. And we've had our baked some our daily bread, and we had a big salad for each of us, which was absolutely delicious. It has everything from all the vegetables you can possibly think of, including little chunks of meat. Then we fixed macaroni salad and had chicken tenders with some peas. And you'll see I had planned that night to do hamburgers on Thursday night. Let me show you on Thursday night right here. But this got changed, and I'll make that change in just a moment, because we didn't do any of that. We ended up actually eating Chinese. Ta-da! Which I love. Now, Friday night, we're going to have southern fried fish and some cornbread with some slaw. And then on Saturday, we're planning burgers. And they're actually going to be brown sugar bacon, blue cheese burgers. So I'll take you through on that. I'll have a video upload on that as well. So keep an eye out for that. But this is what I do for each week, is that I kind of plan in advance what I'm going to do. So I'm going to turn the page. We got our groceries for June. And so now we're ready to actually look at the month and decide on what our plan is going to be.
Well, guys, what's cooking in your kitchen? And when we talk about cooking in the kitchen, that's not just for dinner. We cook off and on all day. So, because of that, you'll see that I prepared a breakfast skillet quiche, which turned out delicious. And there was no crust. So for those who are sensitive to flour, that's not an issue. This is strictly eggs, sausage, cheese, some onions, some peppers, seasonings, and done. How about that? I'm going to prepare grilled salmon tonight for dinner. And so what I've decided to do is to do it in the air fryer. So it's been seasoned, it's already in the air fryer, and I'm just keeping a check on it because I sprayed the pan that it sits in very well with oil, and I turned it up so that the skin was up because I wanted the skin to get nice and crispy on the back of the salmon. And then I thought about that. I thought, well, I better get you a little closer so you could see. Now, what I should have done was to have cut this salmon in advance. But you know what? I wasn't thinking about that when I first started. So I'm having to stop and cut the salmon and slice it in half. Now, of course, I could have waited until the end and done the slicing. That probably would have been the smart thing to do, but I didn't. So I'm just letting you know that, we do what we do in the kitchen, and sometimes we do it in the right order, and sometimes we don't. So I'm just struggling a little bit with this because now that the skin is nice and crispy, it doesn't want to cut. So here we go. We're going to work on it. You can see that I'm going to give it about 3 more minutes in the air fryer. The cooking of the salmon was really very fast. The salmon came out nice and moist and tasted delicious. Now, I also mashed some potatoes. So what I'm doing is that I'm just putting a little seasoning in. That's some house seasoning that I'm sprinkling in. They've already been mashed, so it's just a matter of stirring them up. I kept them just a little bit loose by putting a tiny bit of milk and a little bit of sour cream in them because as they sit on the stove, and I wanted them to stay on the stove so they would stay hot. You'll see that they're a little loose, but I promise you they will tighten up. So I try to err on the side of caution when I'm putting liquids into mashed potatoes. So you'll see I had the fire on. So I'm turning that off. The bell went off And you know what? The salmon is smelling so good. And let's see what we can do. So I'm just taking my spatula and dividing the two pieces. And I'm going to put it back in there because it's not quite ready yet. So I'm giving it a little more time, and I'm adjusting the temperature just a bit. Now you'll also see a bowl of peas that were sitting there because we're going to have some green peas for dinner tonight. I'm giving you a higher view of the salmon. Look at how pretty it turned out. It was absolutely perfect. Now let's get the salmon onto the plates. There's one piece on plate one, and let's see if I can get him up without making a mess. But I'm going to put that on the second plate. There we go. Now, what a nice quick dinner, because the cleanup is going to be so fast. I'll come back and get that in just a moment. All right, we're going to scoop out our mashed potatoes, which are going to be so delicious with that salmon. You can see the steam coming off of the potatoes where they've been sitting with low heat. The peas also are hot at this point, and they're ready to go on the plate. So we'll get those on the plate so that they'll be ready to, I can just serve the big guy some dinner. So there we go. There's our peas. They're nice and hot. Everything is nice and hot and ready for dinner. So let's get everything in place. Let me bring you in a little closer. Grilled salmon using the Cuisinart Air Fryer. It's absolutely perfect. And I got this salmon from Aldi's. How about that? I hope you have had a wonderful time in the kitchen, and I hope that you will continue to be a part of the Ebony, Ivy, and Thyme family. I have certainly enjoyed your presence.